What is up, NFL gamblers? This is the Week 7 episode of Tossin the Pigskin. I'm your host, Nate Smith. Pretty hard to believe that the NFL is already about to enter Week 7. This season really has flown by, and it'll keep going by fast, so we really got to enjoy it. Almost at the halfway point, which is sad, but also cool. We're starting to see who's really separating themselves, who the real contenders are, and obviously just trying to pick some winners. So let's start this episode just like we have the previous few. And how did I do last week? For week 6, I was 3-2. My losses were the Rams -3 and the Eagles money line was a big L. My wins were Falcons versus the Cardinals over 52, the Saints money line, and the Panthers -2.5 across the pond. So as I mentioned, that's 3-2 for week 6. Season record is now sitting at 14, 15, and 1. Obviously, I'd like that number to continue to improve, hoping to give out more winners as the season progresses. But for my first full season of picking multiple games every week, I'm a little bit pleased with that number, 14, 15, and 1, a little bit under 500. I'm hoping by season's end we can be over 500. But as I mentioned, for my first time doing this, multiple games a week for a full season, I still have a lot to learn, and I think I am learning as I go, and hopefully we can add even more winners this week. So let's get right to it for week 7. Pick number 1, give me the 49ers -9 versus the Redskins. The Niners are hot, really hot. Jimmy G, a lot of ladies think he's handsome. You could say he's hot. Everything is working for this team right now. They're 5-0 heading into this one. And 4 of those wins were by double digits. Last week might have been the most impressive one, a 20-7 win at the Rams, despite missing both offensive tackles plus some other important starters. This defense is one of the best in the league at this point. Number 2 overall in opponents' points per game, allowing just 12.8 points, which is a ridiculous number. Also, number 2 in yards allowed per game with 237.4. Washington has been a mess all year. Second to last in the league in third down conversion percentage, while the Niners defense comes in at number 4 in opponent third down conversion percentage. To sum it up, this Niners defense is insane, and this Redskins team is in full tank mode / disarray / just burning dumpster gif. I love the Niners here. The Redskins can't score. The Niners don't let anyone score. I like the Niners here by at least a couple touchdowns. Next game here, pick number 2. Give me the Texans +1 versus the Colts. Now, don't get me wrong. The Colts are a solid team, and wouldn't be surprised if they snuck in as a wild card in the AFC for a playoff spot. That being said, the Texans are playing some of the best football in the league right now. Very high level. Houston is 4-2 on the year and coming off its best win of the season, a 31-24 road win against the Chiefs. 2 stats jump off the page when you look into this game. Houston has been able to convert on third down and punch it in when they get into the red zone. Texans are number 1 in the league in third down conversion rate, converting over 51% of the time, while the Colts defense is ranked 26th in stopping third down conversions. The Texans are scoring a touchdown in the red zone at a whopping 71%, good for best in the league, while the Colts are 4th from the bottom in red zone touchdown scoring percentage allowed. Not to mention 2 members of the Colts secondary, Malik Hooker and Kenny Moore, both did not practice on Wednesday. We'll see if they play or not in this game. They both might play, but even if they do, that lets me know that they're banged up and they might not be at 100%. So that their status is worth keeping an eye on. But assuming they both do play, doesn't affect the pick. Watson is on fire. Let's ride with the Texans in this one. Next pick here. Raiders +6 versus the Packers. Now, casual football fans might jump on me here and say, well, aren't the Raiders bad? Honestly, they started the season a little rocky, but the Raiders are not a bad football team. Situationally speaking, the Raiders are in a great spot here. They're coming off a bye, they're rested, and the Packers are coming off a short week. They just played on Monday night. Oakland started the year off kind of shaky, but the last 2 games have been impressive. Road wins over the Colts and Bears. Now, the Bears was in London, so I'm just going to call that a road game for both teams involved. The Raiders have been finding a bit of a groove on offense recently, and the Packers' defense is not as good as advertised. The Packers' D is 21st in the league in opponents' yardage per game, and the Raiders are 8th in the league in third down conversion percentage. While the Packers' offense, which is what they're known for, Rodgers and this offense is supposed to be high-powered, they're 27th in the league in third down conversion percentage. It's a really poor number. Not to mention the Packers are banged up. Packers' number 1 wide receiver, Devontae Adams, who is one of the best receivers in the entire league, has missed the past 2 games with a turf toe injury. If he can't play, that means Marquez Valdez-Scantling will be the Packers' number 1 wide receiver. And that doesn't scare you against an Oakland secondary that's actually pretty good. Also, Oakland just acquired Buffalo wide receiver Zay Jones, who will see game action and probably be pretty heavily involved right away because Oakland is pretty thin at wide receiver. Now, I'm not saying Jones will go out and have a 100-yard day, but I think he's an upgrade to some of the options they've had. So it'll be interesting to see him in this offense. I think the Raiders play well. They might even sneak a win here. I definitely think they cover the +6. Give me Oakland in this one. Moving to pick number 4. Jaguars -3 versus the Bengals. Now, Minshew Mania came to a bit of a halt last week after a 13-6 home loss to the Saints. But if you're the Jags, that's nothing to hang your head about. The Saints have established themselves as one of the best teams in the NFC, so that loss is almost expected, if you will. The Bengals are 0-6. Just lost again, 23-17 to the Ravens last week. And this Cincy D is awful. Second to last in opponent yards per game, and second to last in opponent yards per play. This Jacksonville offense doesn't exactly light the world on fire, but they will move the ball and they will score against the Cincinnati defense. Also, defensively, Jacksonville can get after the quarterback. Very talented front 7, specifically very talented defensive line. 7th in the league in sack percentage is this Jacksonville defense, while the Bengals offense is 28th in QB sack percentage. So 2 numbers there that really benefit the Jags. Give me the Jags by at least a touchdown in this one. And that brings us to our last pick, pick number 5. Ravens versus the Seahawks. Not taking a side, taking a total. Give me over 49. Both teams, 4 out of their last 6 games for both teams, the over has hit. The Seahawks have scored 27 points or more in every game but one this year. To this point in the season, Russell Wilson is my MVP. He's been just phenomenal. Just, to me, has been the best quarterback in the league, the best player in the league so far. Without him, this Seahawks team is maybe a 500 team, maybe worse. The Ravens are number 1 in yards per game on offense, and the Hawks are number 5. So both of these offenses are churning. Both teams rank in the back half defensively in opponents' passing yards per game, and both defenses are giving up a very high rate of yards per play. Both defensive units have talented players, but I think they are both overrated as a whole. The Ravens just traded for cornerback Marcus Peters, and I assume his playing time will be limited in this game, given he doesn't know the playbook at all and it was a midweek trade. Even if he did play the full game, he's not going to be the reason Seattle won't score. Seattle's going to score regardless if he plays a lot of the game or not. I think both offenses light it up in this one. Lamar Jackson has been fun to watch. He's been dynamic. He's really upgraded this Ravens offense. Give me the over in Seattle. That was the Week 7 episode of Tossin the Pigskin. As always, Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, we can go 5-0. That's always the goal. Just trying to give out winners, baby. We'll see you guys next week.